Hello, hello, hello. Hi, everyone. It is day 3 of Financial Freedom with God. I am Jodi Gambini. I am your money coach and other kinds of coaches with connecting the dots, but this is all around the expertise of 27 years of my experience as a having my stockbroker's license and my investment advisor's license. So if you guys are joining, say hello. Let us know where you're joining from. I think I might have a couple comments. Hello. Hi. Hi. If you guys are watching afterwards on the replay, you're probably going to want to just zip through like the first couple of minutes because I want to give everybody a chance to get on in the group. So the question is, who posted in the group? Did you guys see my video earlier today? Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, you know, um, it is, I'm continue to remind how precious every day is and how precious every birthday is. As there's people in my life that either celebrated their last birthday in the last year and they didn't know that was their last birthday. And so to me, the greatest way to honor every day God has us on this earth is to look at it as a gift. So when we went to schedule this, I knew that it was going to fall on my birthday, but I thought, if you if you don't know me, I love empowering people around financial empowerment, financial literacy, financial wellness, all of the things. Because when you've seen everything that I've seen, you normally know that there's a lot of things out there that people are not activating people with. So I've been getting some great feedback around yesterday and the mindsets and all the different things that we talked about. Time mapping. I know a lot of people are like, oh, wow, you need a spending plan for your money and your time. And yeah, and then you need it also for your business. So if you have a business and you have personal, then you need both of them. So did anybody go live? I've been I've actually had a really nice birthday. I got to have a massage today, so I literally just jumped out of the shower and tossed a couple quick things on. I'm going out to one of my favorite restaurants tonight. And I'm getting to talk to all you guys and go backstage. Maverick, if you have the ability, or I don't know if Vera's on, but I want to make sure you guys see the link if you wanted to upgrade to the deep dive, because today is going to be one of those days oh, Dr. Roxy is on. Today is going to be one of those days that it's Dr. Roxy's birthday too. So happy birthday back to you. It's going to be one of those days where you're going to see all the slides, um, but I'm going to go at a high level because I yesterday's topic was, I really had to have things typed out, and I just want you to know that do it I felt like you guys needed to see it at the last minute and it wasn't the original plan. And but I do think that it was helpful to have it there so you could see the steps and everything. But 2 days is going to be it's something that that the Lord gave me while I was a financial advisor, and to be able to teach and help educate people in the understanding of everything through all of my training. So, oh, Dr. Roxy, your birthday, it's my birthday that I was reborn in Christ. Oh, okay. Dr. Roxy and I are we've both been speakers and we're both part of a group called Women with a Voice. And Vera is the leader. She is the founder of Women with the Voice. And if you guys have seen the slides and all the things and everything that's been posted, it is because my virtual assistant agency is Trinity High, which the CEO of that is Vera, and then she has her whole team. So today I have Maverick as part of my team, who is amazing. And when it comes to all of this, I need it. I need the guiding and the feedback, and to be able to do all of those things. Hi, Andrea. How are you? Hello, hello. So, so we are going to get into some fun things. All the slides. Does that include a slip and slide? Well, if you're me, it could. Like, any surface could be a slip and slide for me. Yeah, I'm except, okay, little side note as everybody's joining, I just have to share. And if you guys haven't invited a friend, I don't know if you heard, but here is the little public service announcement. Number one, we're going to do some giveaways. So I didn't see besides Lisa, who else did a so I might have to do the drawing a little later. Um so I didn't get to see who else did if anybody else did a video. Let's see here. All right, Jennifer did a video. Right on, right on. Amy Green did a video. Oh my gosh, shout out to you guys all. Right on. Amy, all of you guys are looking great. All right. Okay, so I think I've got, all right, so we've got 3 people that did a video. So I'm going to do one drawing today, but here, don't worry, guys. Don't worry, because we're extending it. My gift to you is we are going to do a bonus tomorrow and the next day. So tomorrow's is going to be all around Q&A. So we're going to put up a post inside the group that will probably say something like, give us your questions, something like that. I'm sure my team is probably will be able to help me with that. And then I need all of your questions. For every question you ask, you get 2 entries in. For if you've done your first video and you share your takeaways, you're getting 5 entries in. And then today, when we end, if you go with your takeaway, and tomorrow, so we're going to continue to do drawings. So, and then Friday, it's going to be a surprise. I'm not sure exactly. I have a couple of ideas of some things that I'm going to do, but we're going to continue it on Friday, wrap some things up. I'm going to give you a really cool preview of, so you guys are going to all get to experience a little bit of a preview of this brand new thing that I am launching. So for those of you that have been thinking, oh my goodness, I like, oh my goodness, I did not have enough. This was a lot, right? And now you like are like, okay, that's great, but now I don't have Jodi anymore, and how am I going to continue this? So I have something we've been working on, and we're going to be releasing after that. I'll just give you a little hint: financial breakthrough mentorship. And it's going to be around a lot of the things we're going over, and we're going to get on as a group and a community. And I'm going to teach you guys a lot of the things. And I'm doing, for the first time ever, I'm going to do one payment option that is 8 payments, because I really feel like this is on God's heart for his people to prosper and to be able to carry wealth. And these are things that I've seen that most people that love the Lord, I love people's feedback, because they're like, yeah, I handle all the finances, or yeah, my spouse handles all the finances. I've actually gotten quite a few messages from that one alone. So let me just go ahead and um, Amy, thank you. Oh, love you too, free. Um, come here. Oh my gosh, we have a bunch of fur crazy kitties around here. So, how is your health and family and ministry? Hope all is well by grace. Thank you. I don't know who this is, but thank you. My family is doing well. There's been quite a few. Definitely pray for all sickness and infirmities and all things to be completely healed in my body, in my husband's body, and in my mom's body. Without getting into a whole lot. Katie, hi. I didn't get to catch you guys, but peeking in now. Awesome. Well, we're going to get started. I haven't watched yesterday's yet, so I'm playing catch up. No worries at all. Guys, we're extending it, so you have a couple extra days to catch up. Thank you. May God use this for, please keep us in your prayers. Can you share the word of God? All right. Okay. Oh my goodness. We're getting photobombed over here. Come here, baby. Okay. All right. So we're going to get started. Come here. I got to get her calm or else she's going to just this is the lovely, there's a lot of great things about working from home. Yes, kitty bomb. So, you thought Alvin had come back. No, Alvin had not come back. This must be Bill. All right, so we're going to get started. So, Maverick, if you can put up the first slide for me. All right, so yes, there we go. So I just want to give a little recap. These look so much prettier than what I put up yesterday. So financial freedom with God, that's what we're doing. If any of you guys are jumping in, I know this group was an old group, so there are a few people that may be popping in and they're like, how am I even seeing this? A lot of you guys have been in Camp Gambini, but we decided to do a separate group for this. So step one we went over on the first day was laying a spending plan and foundation. So I just want to make sure that I say this as many times as I can. And if this is what I would say the litany test is, that you could say within $100, let me give you a little more wiggle room. Let's say 200, because I know Andrea, she was like, oh my gosh, how am I ever gonna, you could say within $200 that itemized, you know exactly what you're spending, you know how much you're spending on laundry detergent, you know how much you're spending on what your average budget is for the actual groceries that you cook for. If you're not cooking in the house, you know how much you're spending on stopping by drive-through, DoorDash, all of these things. Like, you can itemize every single thing. You don't just look at your statement and see, oh, I'm spending $370 at Walmart. There could be 5 different categories. You could have clothing, you could have all kinds of different things. So I purposely put these in order, and I will tell you 95% of the time when I would meet with somebody, and I still meet with them, this is still the one that they need to start with. Okay. And I purposely wanted to just say that again, because once you get this in line, everything, it all goes back to the spending plan. And what we're going to go over today will all go back to, you're going to make some line items for these things, and they all have to be in the spending plan. So that is our foundation. That is like, we're building, if you're building a house and you are and you have cement, like, you want to build on a really solid foundation. First you have to build it all, then you have to put the cement, then you have to make sure that you do it and you let it dry so there's no cracks before you build anything else. So And if you guys miss these, no problem. They're in this group. If you look up top, they're both pinned. Day one was step one, laying the foundation. And then go ahead, Maverick, and show step two. Step two was a 90-day money plan. And that was, you can watch that in day one, but what I basically share is just get it on paper, what I call budget or expected budget. So you line item everything, you guesstimate if you're not sure, and then you start tracking it, and you track it for 30 days, and then you look and see what, because it's always going to happen this way. There's a couple things that you, oh wow, I was really off with this, and you readjust it. You're going to put in how much money you're bringing in, and then it's going to be like a spreadsheet that's going to be a running total that you can look at and track every single week, and then you renew it at the 30-day mark and readjust things. You track again every week for another 30 days. And then you look a little more, because the whole goal is that we want to really get an average of what you are tracking against your spending, that it's as accurate as possible. Then you track for 30 more days and you do it again. And then you keep tracking. But by that time, you probably will start to see trends, and you're also going to start to readjust things, and the light bulb's going to go off on a lot of things, and you're going to understand why you've just felt like you're just getting by. So that was day one. And then day two was step three. And I'm just going to pause for a second, because I did just see Katie's message, and we actually went over deeper in the deep dive on day two on Zoom. And for those of you that are watching this and you're thinking, oh my gosh, I wish that I would have gone to a deeper dive. If you're I'm just going to give it to all of you guys, the code. You can put a code in, and I think Maverick's going to probably put the link up. If not, we'll put it up in a minute. And the code is Freedom50. So the price is $44. If you guys want to jump on now, I'll do it for $22, just because I feel like the deeper dives are going to go in greater. And so what Katie was talking about is the reason why this part is the most important, and nobody ever wants to go this deep and do it, but it is so much worth the focus and the discipline and working towards the habits to change them. It's going to bring you more peace. It's going to bring you more clarity. It is what we call a good steward of our money as kingdom Christians, or what we call kingdom citizens, that were from the kingdom of God. But even more important, exactly what Katie just said, is I just added a few months of, what'd she say here? I just added a few months of worth of groceries, and gas went up so much. This is in where we're in right now. I think that's why the Lord is putting this so strong on my heart to really go deep into this. And to be honest with you, this was a little more work for me, because I've never taught it in this way. That's why I'm so grateful for Trinity High and my whole virtual assistant agency that helps me with all of this. All these things are all them. But this is why, Katie, and yeah, so good. This is why you need to know this, because if you don't understand that you are you're negative $300 every single month, you're going to start charging your credit cards up. And I hear, honestly, sometimes I just don't engage in certain conversations, because I've always had a rule of thumb. Do you want my help? And can I help you? When somebody's not my client, they may not want my help. And if they want my help, then normally I'm going to help them as a client. I've donated my services to tons of people to help them, but they do come on as a client, and I help them with it. But this is the number one thing where you never move forward with anything, because you haven't taken the time to see it. And in where we're at right now, this is even more huge. So step step 3 is to build a time map. And I know most people had not heard of that. And I purposely don't call it time management because there's 2 factors in this. Number 1, you're going to take certain categories and you're going to sit with the Lord and you're going to ask questions. We did that in the deep dive. That's why I'm saying I think that if you guys get the deep dive videos, which you will if you upgrade to VIP, it's really going to give you some additional things that you can look into. So that was step 3 and that was day 2. And then the second thing we went over in day 2, because we have to figure out how we're going to map out our time to make time to focus on tracking everything. And then we also discussed step 4. Okay. Uncover your money mindset. And honestly, this was the first time I've ever, when I have individual clients, I just kind of diagnose them like a doctor would diagnose them. And I help kind of navigate them with the goals that are important to them, and move it that way. But I felt like this is something that I'm streaming in and I wanted to make sure. So I went over a whole bunch of different questions that people will say about money. And you need to understand what your money mindsets are because it's how you can actually even hold yourself accountable to things, not beat yourself up, but go, okay, this is a lot of times you learn it from your family. I saw my friend Lisa shared how her daughter, I don't know how old she is now, but how she's been wanting to go to the library and learn about finance. And she was so vulnerable because she went live for the first time. If you guys haven't seen her live, ever, ever. And she said, that was me. My husband's great with money, but I don't really know much about it. And my little daughter is wanting to learn it. Guys, we need to learn it. And so we could be teaching the next generations. If you have kids, if you have grandkids, I used to do a ton. I'd go into schools and help teach around these things at a level for kids. And the number one thing I didn't say is why you need to understand your money mindset and you need to set a time map is you want to invite the whole family in on it. So like if you guys are trying to get your electricity bill down to $200, it's like, okay, we're going to invite the whole family because our bigger goal is this, that the kids can go to school, go to a private school. Our bigger goal is that we want it, whatever it is, there's a goal as a family that you want to meet. So maybe you have a little jar that it's like, okay, every time lights are left on or things, but it helps people be accountable. As Christians, we are called to be good stewards of our resources, of our money. So that was step 4. So now we're going to get into today. So this is step 5, 6, and 7. And um, okay, someone is posting in about a wedding they're hosting. Um, we're holding an event in Salem and in Charlotte in April next year. Um, this is not a place, this is a challenge. So this isn't a place to post in about your Virginia festival. So I ask you if you could take that comment down, because we're learning about financial in here. So this is step 5, financial mapping. So this is what I call financial mapping. You already heard about time mapping, right? And money mapping. So the spending plan is money mapping. So we've got money mapping, financial mapping, and we've got time mapping. These are all words that I came up with because no one likes a budget. No one likes time management. And when you just say investment planning, financial planning, most people go, ugh. But because the truth of the matter is it's an ongoing fluid thing that you're going to continue to map out. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the bucket method. So let's go ahead. And this is so cute. Oh my gosh, look at those buckets. They're so cute. So we're going to go ahead and go to the next slide. So buckets plus money. This is what step 5 is about. And um, what I'm going to share with you is I want you to imagine she did a great job there. She put a little something that you can pour money out. I gave the example. Have you guys ever, you probably all have this, or we have this at an event. It's one of those big giant drink containers. It has a lid. You pour lemonade in, whatever you want, and then it has a little spigot at the end. Okay. So that little money that's here on this picture, if you imagine that's there you go. Oh my gosh, she did such, I haven't seen these yet. Oh my gosh, she did such a great job. We're going to fill our buckets with money, and then there's different things that this money is going to do for us. So we need to, the goal is to build, once we get our money mapping down and our time mapping to be able to figure out and do the money mapping and make it a priority. And then we also are aware of our money mindset. Then we can begin to build our buckets, because we can't even build our buckets right now if we don't know all the things that are coming in and out. And you may have some of this built, but I will promise you, you go back up to step 1, you will get so much better. But this is about the money coming in and then being able to be poured out as it's needed for certain things. So go ahead and go to the next one, Vera. Yes, so there's 4 buckets. There's bucket 1, there's bucket 2, there's bucket 3, and there's bucket 4. So what I want to make sure that you're kind of learning with this is, if I wasn't clear, for 27 years I advised people. I helped them with not just opening up new accounts. I really helped them with where they were going to plan to have their money at. And it's directly related to how you invest it. So I carried and was active with my Series 7 stockbroker's license, which meant that you're held to a really high standard of understanding a client's risk tolerance, which means even though everyone, I will tell you, everyone wants to make all kinds of money, okay? But so they'll say, hey, I've got this $5,000 that I just saved up. But they don't understand the risk that they're taking based on the goal that they need. So a lot of times, so that's what I came up with years ago, because I was constantly having conversations with people. And I think the first person I was trying to really explain it to, so they understood, like, okay, we've got this chunk of money. Sometimes I would deal with people that got money inherited, and this, they really needed to allocate what each of the buckets was for, and this helped us with our investment strategies. So that's where the whole story came around the buckets. And all my clients, just like time mapping, they all know about the buckets, because that, what that bucket is earmarked for had a direct reflection of what way we invested. And by the way, I didn't invest all of it. Some people were doing different things with it. Some people, sometimes we may have had different things, but the time frame that you can hold the money is directly reflected of how much risk you can take. So no matter what it is, even if you are going to invest in somebody's business, like, hey, I'm going to give you $1,000, $5,000, $10,000, you need to understand the risk that you're taking and that you may not get that money back. It's the number one thing that I see, and it emotionally crushes people, and it spiritually, it just messes with you because you didn't understand. We call it risk tolerance in my industry, which means, let me give you an example. If you gave me and I don't know, I'll take any example, but I'm just going to give a basic example here. If you happen to work really hard and you had $10,000, and whatever you invested that money in, let's are you okay if you lose it all? Your reward could be that you could double that money, but you need to understand the risk that you're taking. So if anybody tells you that you can make, if you put in $1,000, you can make $2,000, I would be very, very, very cautious, because that means they're saying that you could double your money or make a 50% profit in 1 year. If 1,000 to 2,000 is 100% profit. So 1,500 would be that you were doubling, you were increasing it by 50%, right? And 100% profit would be to $2,000. Most people get really, really excited about this, and they can risk all of it. I want to share a little bit about risk, because that's why I created these buckets, to help people understand if they what their risk was, and that they had all the plans set in place for what the money was earmarked for, and certain things that didn't matter if they didn't earn very much on it, because that was not what that bucket was marked for. That bucket was marked for if you need an income stream to come in and pay your bills for 3 months, and that's going to be $9,000. You need all 9,000. It doesn't matter how much it grows. It doesn't matter how much. You don't want to put that in where you just invested in somebody's business, or you invested in something, unless you are okay with not getting it back in that time frame. So let's go ahead and go to the next slide. Oh, somebody's asking, Amy just asked, could you pin the link? She said, can you pin the link inside the Facebook group? I think is what she was wondering, because she doesn't see it in the comments. Okay. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay. All right. So this is bucket number 1. Okay. And again, why we want to know and have our money mapping and ongoing money mapping is we want to add these things in. So if you're spending money and you're losing it, like just because you haven't started to push towards having good discipline and stewardship and understanding everything that's coming in and everything that's coming out. I get it. It's not fun. I mean, honestly, I've held back teaching about this one because most people, they immediately want to give up. But it's not about that. It's about every single week you make goals to try to do it. It's okay. You don't have to be perfect going towards it. So now let's say that we've now uncovered that you were able to find $500 a month by the whole family coming together and all making meals, or maybe food prepping once a week, so that no one had to go do some extra door dashes or stuff. It was just for the entertainment fun factor with everything, and you start to find money, which I promise you, you will do that the more that you look at it. You might call your PG&E. You might relook at what phone bill you have. You may go through your statement and see every single membership you have, and you're like, oh my gosh, we really don't use these memberships. Or you may, as a family, even say, what are the 2 streaming apps we use the most? Because we have bigger goals here. We want to do things. We want to be able to help fund children in orphanages in Africa. We want to help be able to do other things. So I always say, get the whole family involved, because they're going to learn these habits, and they're not going to be where you're at, because they're going year after year after year. Some of the kids that I saw come in, and I would teach them how to open their own little account and track it. Their moms and dads, they really wanted them to do this. They'd even have their own little investment. They take their birthday money, and I would teach them the 50-50 rule. Anytime they made money, got birthday money, Christmas money, they would put 50% in, and then they could take the 50% and do something fun. So it doesn't have to be all or nothing. A lot of times everybody says, well, put 100% in. Well, then you kind of lose. It feels like it's a punishment, and people don't want to do it. But those kids now, like I've been doing this for 27 years. So believe it or not, they have families now. And it is amazing to hear. They're like, Jodi, do you know I bought my first house at 23 years old? Because I kept investing in that Disney stock and I listened to you with all of that. And then when I got my first job, I just did the same thing I did when I was 10 years old. So I want to say that whether it's grandkids, you have kids, you have, I taught all my nieces and nephews around this. It's really healthy to bring the whole family in. That's the first thing I say. So once you do that and you find money, this is the next thing that's super important. You don't, I see people do this backwards. Okay. Bucket one needs to be filled up first. Okay. So if you notice what's really critical that people leave out, because you can now, in the information age, you can Google anything. So you'll see all the things that are important, but people aren't telling you the order that they need to go in. And so many times people go buy an investment, go buy this, and they don't have this set up. So what this bucket of money purpose is it's 3 to 9 months of your expenses. Okay. Or you want to do your paycheck, whichever you prefer. But normally, if some emergency happened, as long as you can continue to pay your expenses, that's going to be really important. So it's 3 to 9 months. Like, of course, I understand the first thing you're going to have to do. I feel like I can hear everybody. The first thing you're going to have to do is figure out what that number is. What is 1 month of expenses? And then that would be your first goal, is that you just start putting a little bit into that bucket every single month. And if you're self-employed, you need to add 3 to 6 months of business expenses. These are the number one things where I see, and I know I don't think everybody believes me, but bankruptcies, marriages blowing up, a lot of things, the bottom line, when you see people's bank statements, when you see them naked and you see all the stuff, the five credit cards maxed out, because the symptom was they were living over their means. They didn't understand how much they were spending. They're great people. They're sweet people. Like, I'm going to tell you, some of my favorite people I know. I'm so passionate about it because you just don't know what you don't know, and they're not teaching it. And so, honestly, you can thank Vera, because she was the one that's been asking me more and more. She's like, hey, Jodi, do you know anybody you can refer me to that can teach on financial literacy? And I'm like, yeah, me. I just haven't taught it in this forum. Where I teach it is private. And so it showed me that a lot of people don't know these things. But these are important. And then you add them in a log, and then it becomes your goal. Okay. Because one of the number one things that can happen is you can have an unexpected accident. Okay. You could have an unexpected illness. You could lose your job. These are all things I have. Every single client family I helped, one of them happened, a death in the family, where there was no other choice. They had to leave their job and go live with their parents for 3 months. There was, they couldn't work from home. There were things that happened. So 3 to 9 months of expenses. If you're in a W-2 where it's a pretty solid type of business, that it's an essential business per se, if we speak COVID language, 3 would be good. If you're in a one, like a contractor, businesses that kind of fluctuate depending on what's going on with our economy. For example, if gas prices are now $5 a gallon, there might be things that don't happen as much because all the prices go up. Then you might want to look at 6 to 9 months. Make your goal 3 months. Then once you get 3 months, then go from there. And, for your business expenses, if you can't start out with 3 months, start out with 1 month and then a second month. What will happen is this will also start to give you a budget to do the things that you need to do for the business, right? Whether it would be to hire some people to take on some of the jobs you're doing, whatever it is. So as you begin to earmark and save it. So this is bucket number one. It's a goal. I don't want to freak anybody out. The whole goal is to know that that's our first bucket that we want to fill after anything else. I would say before you go on a vacation. I would say before you buy that new car. I would say before anything else, this is one of the most important ones. And I say take no risk on this money. Keep in savings where it can keep its value. I was thinking about this as I was getting ready. If you want to keep it somewhere else, in a safe, whatever you want to do, but that it is accessible and it will not be down. And if you're not going to know when these emergencies happen. So if you need this money tomorrow and the market is dropped, your $3,000 is now only 1,000, and it's not going to come back in one day. It just won't. That's just not how it works. I can promise you. So that's the emergency fund. And then let's go ahead and go to the next bucket. That's bucket one. And I hope you guys get the whole thing. Like, it's goals, guys. But I'd love for you guys to look at in October for the next 12 months. I will promise you, if you focus on all of these, you will be shocked. I've worked with so many people, how they start to fill them up, how they even look differently around it. And I do want to be clear, anything where it comes to tithing, sowing, that's all going to be in your money mapping area. Okay. That's going to be kind of in your main spending plan that I've gone over. But this is all the additional things that you want to plan for and make sure that you have. So I call this bucket number two, and I call it projects and goals. So it could be, I'm just giving some examples here. It could be a down payment for a mortgage, working capital to fund a new business, new car purchase, RV for camping, because that's a goal for your family. You would love to do that. Maybe you're going to retire and you'd love to have that. Vacations, investing in a building for your business, whatever these things are. Again, you put a goal and you start putting it in that little bucket. And because eventually you're going to pour it out for what the goal is. So the objective of this is that the value is there no matter when you need it. Because, and typically I say the goal that you would spend it 1 to 4 years. Okay. So maybe it's going to take you a while to save it, but when you need it, you're going to need it. If you invest in anything, I don't care if it's blockchain, if it's the stock market, I will tell you I call it liquid, because if you see this bucket here, you can pour the money out immediately, right? It's liquid, it's available, you can grab it no matter what. Real estate is the most unliquid, okay? Because first of all, if it's your home, you have to hope you have enough equity, you've got to sell it, you've got to do it. So you're looking at a 4 to 6 month turnaround at times to be able to get the money out that you need to get out, compared to being able to even other investments. You can call up your stockbroker and say, hey, Jodi, can you liquidate this? I need to get this money. Okay. And they can have a check to you in 2 to 3 days. So you need to understand that if you are doing an investment, which I call a startup, which there's good opportunities for things like that. That is not going to be for bucket two, because this money needs to be able to be available. And maybe you have a great year and all of a sudden you thought it was going to take you 2 years and you're able to have that $10,000 saved up. So important, you need to know what the time frame of the goal is for this one, which is 1 to 4 years. I call it project's goal or midterm. Okay. And the risk for this money would be a money market or like a CD, something that is guaranteed. A CD means you got $10,000, you purchase it. They say, okay, for 9 months, we'll give you 4% a month, which right now CDs are the highest they've ever been. Back in the day, not too long ago, you were getting 0.5. So it was absolutely it made no sense, because you still couldn't touch your money for 9 months without losing the interest that you got. So at that point, I'd be like, just keep it in a money market or a savings account. So that is bucket 2. So bucket 3 is um, projections and estate planning. This is, I'm sorry, I think it was supposed to be protection, but we can call it projecting out for any type of thing that would happen out in the future. So that is accidents that happen. That is if something happened and you went in heaven and God took you tomorrow and you are an income producer in the household, what would be the things that you had not saved for? What would be the things that are important to, yeah, what would be the things that are important to accomplish and pay for? So, for example, if one person works at the house and one person works away from the house, um, if that person passed tomorrow and it's a 2 income household, and let's just assume each person brings in 2,500 each, you are down to 2,500 instead of 5,000. Are you currently running where you could make it all at 2,500? Well, if you filled up bucket 1 first, immediately you would have that. But you could look into what I call short-term life insurance. I'm going to go deeper in this one in the deep dive. I'm just going to tell you what they are. You could use it for life insurance to fund estate taxes. You could use it for long-term disability funding, meaning maybe you're in a job that you could get disabled. And like here in California, state disability is like, for depending on how much money you make, I think the maximum is like 2,500 for long-term disability because it goes to Social Security. So basically, your long-term disability would be what you would have gotten at whatever your full age is for Social Security, and they'll give it to you until you turn that age, and then you just continue. Well, most people's Social Security is probably 30% of what their income, 40%, maybe if you're lucky, 50%. Okay. So you need to plan for these things. And that's what these would be for. And I call that, there's more a time frame of like 5 to 10 years. These projects could also be and protection. They could be for a child's college education. It could be for a wedding that you know that you want your kids to get married someday, so you want to have that money saved. It could be for all these different things, but it typically, I think, these goals mean that you would not. I said this bucket 2 was 1 to 4 years. Bucket 3 is about 5 to 10 years. Okay, you can take a little bit more risk, but I wouldn't be investing in what I would consider high risk is. So there is like a money market, and then there is conservative, moderate conservative, moderate aggressive, and aggressive. That goes, so without getting into all the 101 on the financials. So this would be what I would consider a moderate, maybe a little aggressive if you're really confident that you're not going to need these things, but you have to fund them, right? You need to be putting money into them. So there are products under life insurance and even long-term care where you can actually use stocks and get some interest in what you're investing. So that would be bucket 3. And then we have bucket 4. Okay. This is bucket 4. Um, it says bucket 2, but it is bucket 4. So this is fund for long-term goals. So really long-term goals have a time frame of 10 to 20 years. There's funds to supplement your retirement when you're going to retire, college child's college education, trade schools, rental properties, personal home. I used some of the types of investments for retirement would be an IRA, a 401k, a 403b, a 457. You can take a moderate to aggressive risk, earning what is called an average. So when people say, "Oh, you're going to make 50% increase," that I can promise you, if you look at the 10-year average, there were years that they made 40%, and there were years that they made negative 40%. So you take the collaborative of all 10 years that somebody made, and then that is what they're able to show. So there were many investments that I would do that were averaging 7 to 9%. That's still considered very aggressive. Um, on top of aggressive is considered speculative or 100% risk. A lot of people don't realize that they are doing a speculative investment. They are doing speculative or even above that. Honestly, above speculative, I call gambling, because there's a high percentage that there's no oversight for whatever you're investing, whether it's into a person, whether it's a type of investment that has no oversight, there's a whole lot of things that have no oversight. There's no responsibility. They're not going to go to jail if they don't pay your money back. I just talked to somebody, and it was real life, and I know it. I've been in this industry for so long. I can tell you it always pops up, the newest, latest, greatest thing, and there's a time frame of when it's going to make money. And especially if it's not regulated. I know people that they invested in, okay, I gotta watch. Okay. I've known people throughout the years, actually, that have invested in things like this, and they basically said, they were a great, good person, but they didn't manage their money, and they had no money to pay back. That is what I call gambling. I would almost call it a donation. Like, if you know that you really want to just help someone out, you believe in their dream and you want to do it, then you're going to just sow a seed into them. And if you never get the money back, that's okay as a Christian. Unlike you go gamble, which I don't want you to do at a casino, right? I mean, I don't know if you guys do that, but the house always wins. Okay. So if it is something that you really believe in, then pray to the Lord and ask Him, is this something, God, you want me to give as a seed to sow into this person? And I'm okay if I never get it back. So yeah. So Amy just said it really well. Bucket 1 is emergency, 3 to 12 months of savings. Bucket 2 is projects, goals, spending in 1 to 4 years. Bucket 3 is protection, accidents. Amy, you're so good at this. Bucket 4 is funding long-term goals. And yes, that is the bucket. Bucket 4 is where you could take the most risk. As you can see, the other buckets, you shouldn't be taking risks. So, like in your 401k, in your IRA, in something like that, it's okay to take a little longer risk if you're not, especially when you're younger. So, when you hear people begin to fund their retirement when they're 22, 23 years old, you're not going to retire for probably 30, 40 years at that point, or even 20 years. But as you get closer into your retirement age and you're 5 years out, then it now has changed its time frame. So those are really important things. I would meet with my clients every year to reassess those things and how we're investing, and if we needed to reevaluate. So that is deep dive. We went longer than expected. I'm learning from this. I feel like I probably should have done a 3-day challenge for each one of these areas, because they're kind of a deep dive. So we're going to go ahead and go over to the VIP. And if you guys do choose to join the VIP, you will, you should, if you already joined and you didn't get a Zoom link, send me or Vera, you see Vera right there, send Vera a message. So we're going to go head over there, and if you can still purchase it, and you'll get the link right away. So we will talk to you soon. Bye.